This is Dudes Who Bet Sports.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Dudes Who Bet Sports for another Thursday. Big day on the channel. We're going to have 3 shows back to back to back. So we'll see how it goes. We've got Dudes Who Bet Sports right now. 1 hour from now, blinkers off. 1 hour after that, the Magic Mike Show. Guess who's on all 3? Me. That's what
I don't know how you do it.
one show at a time.
But this one's easy.
This one's easy. Yeah. This
Then
one is easy.
It's more difficult.
Yep. Well,
who's not showing up on the Magic Mike Show?
Magic. He's not showing up for a while, so that's going to be me. So he may have done his last one. We'll see what happens with Magic. He's officially on baby watch, and then he's going to take a lot of time off once the baby gets here. So we'll see.
Oh, they're having another one. Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
All right.
So there you go. Yeah.
That's it. All right.
Well, yeah, on that vein of this is an easy show, what do you want to talk about today? We don't have a whole lot going on. We're kind of in between at the moment.
No, we'll have to reveal the basketball tournament a little bit.
Yep.
Which I thought, as we've kind of said, kind of disappointed until we got to the last 3 games, and they were outstanding.
Yep.
Games. They did not disappoint. Heard a lot of people, some people anyway, talk about, it was very chalky. All the number 1 seeds got there, but that made for 2 great semifinal games.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know how you could have had a better national championship game unless you like a lot of scoring.
Yeah.
If you just like an all-out war between 2 teams that played the same way, that was just a classic as far as I was concerned, until the Cougars kind of blew it. But I got a ton of respect for Florida.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think they wanted to play that way, but they had to, and they did, and they're just as tough as Houston. They're tough.
Yep. Absolutely. And I thought the whole tournament, Florida showed the toughness because they could have got beat several times, and they just kept winning games like that. And that's why, like, even in the national championship game, I never really felt like Houston had it where they wanted.
No.
And as with Sampson, the one knock on him I've always kind of had reared its ugly head, that just the offense just goes away. It feels like in those last 5-10 minutes of games.
Yeah. He was sick in these press conferences. He kept saying, you got to get a shot. You got to get a shot. And they didn't get a shot those last 2 possessions. And you got to hand it to them. They got Duke to play their tempo.
Yep.
And they got Florida to play their tempo. And what's got to be sickening to Sampson and Houston is they did exactly what they wanted to do, had the game where they had it, and they just couldn't get the big play. But you got to hand it to Florida, too.
Yep. You got to give a lot of credit to Florida. I don't like I said, Houston was right there with a chance, just couldn't get it done. You just kind of felt that thing dwindling, and it's like, boy, I wish there was – when there was 5 minutes on the clock, I was like, I wish there was a minute. I think they'd be fine. But
you could feel it slipping away.
Yeah.
But I think the team that's got to be the sickest is Duke, because they absolutely just blew that game.
Duke should have been in the game. I mean, just flat out, I'm going to say it. They should have been in the game. I don't know. I've never seen a Duke team melt down like that. That was crazy.
I've never seen one do that either.
Yeah.
Because Houston did not play well in that game. And Duke had a lot to do with it. But, and again, you got to hand Duke credit too. They didn't want to play that tempo, but they got in it and they were kicking them. And then they just disintegrated. And like you say, you don't see a Duke team do that. They have to be sick, because I didn't feel good about Houston's chances going into the Florida game, because I just didn't feel like they deserved to be there. They got lucky, and I didn't know if they could do 2 miracles. And then when they got up 10 or 12, I said, they're going to do it. They're going to pull this off. And Florida was just too daggum good. They were just too good.
It kind of felt a little bit like, maybe this is just a team of destiny. You know what I mean? And Houston's going to do it when they were up. But, just couldn't quite finish the job. And like I said, man, that was very, very tough loss for Houston, because it felt like they had it and they just couldn't do it. And the two things we hate the most, Texas, and then Pedlo's a North Carolina fan, so Duke for him. Texas did get stomped in their Final Four game as well. So that was good to see.
Oh, yeah.
On the women's side of things.
And how about UConn? Good Lord.
Yep.
They just steamrolled South Carolina.
Yep. I was talking to Madison the other day, and we were talking about great coaches, and she made a good point of like women's athletics have the two best coaches that I've ever seen, and Patty Gasso and then Gino Ariema. Yeah. And she's like, they don't really get the credit, but show me anybody that's had careers like those two, and you can't. I mean,
if Gino was coaching men's basketball, well, he would be put up on a pedestal way above anyone else. I mean,
exactly.
And it's you can sit there and go, well, it's easier to win in women's. No, it's not. It's not easy to win in anything. And I think I heard what they were 16 out of the last 17 Final Fours or something like that.
Yep.
Okay, you find anybody's ever done that.
Yep.
And the guy's a great coach. All you got to do is listen to him. And he's very thoughtful. And yes, he gets good players, no doubt, but he makes them better. And those kids stick with him. And I thought it was funny. After they won the semifinal game, it was pretty late. And they asked him, what are you going to do tonight to get ready for the next one? And he goes, well, my assistant coaches are doing all that. And he said, I got great assistants. So he said, I'm not going to do anything. We'll get that all taken care of. And I don't care. It'll be tomorrow. We'll sit down and whatever they come up with, I'm going to listen to it. And he goes, more times than not, they've come up with a great plan and we'll just go from there. Yeah. And I thought that was pretty cool that he said that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy. He's now won national championships in 4 different decades. So it's unbelievable.
And I don't ever recall a team playing any better than this team did in those 2 games.
They just dominated. I mean, it was a turn. I mean, it was just like the men's where you thought, okay, you're going to have really competitive games, and none of them were because South Carolina was pretty dominant over Texas. And then, like I said, UConn just dominated both games, just murdered them.
They made UCLA look terrible. Well, they did South Carolina too. And when they beat OU in the Sweet 16, I'm sitting there going, God, this is embarrassing. Well, OU was ahead of them at the half.
Yeah.
They played as well as anybody.
Yeah.
They were ahead at the half. And then from then on, UConn never had a close game after that. And it wasn't close either. It was for a half. So just a really good performance from UConn. And it's just to be expected.
Yeah. I mean, that was
you're
crazy.
Talking about like a lot of people, when you said Patty Gasso, they don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
And that's the women's softball coach at Oklahoma who has won 4 straight national championships. And try doing that.
Yeah.
When you're expected to.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. And every year, and again, one of the most amazing seasons ever to me, they lost 1 game.
Right. Yep.
1 game.
Yep.
And they play great competition, and you lose 1 game, you're pretty damn good.
Yeah. And, this year they've lost 3. They're number 2 in the country, and most people are like, kind of a down year for them so far.
Well, it is. And they lost 4 players instrumental off a team that never played in a World Series and didn't win the damn thing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the most amazing class ever.
Yep.
They were in the World Series 4 years and won every one of them.
It was, I mean, it was an incredible run, and it's still going on. The run has not ended.
They're still good.
Yeah.
They've got a series of games coming up. The next 12 are against ranked SEC teams.
Yep.
And that's going to be tough because they're not as good as they have been, but they're still hard to beat.
Another thing going on that happened last night, Luka returns to Dallas. I don't know if you watched any of this, but he went off 40-plus points. Yeah, pretty good game. I had 30 at the half, I think it was 31 at the half. What a weird atmosphere. They were giving out like Luka T-shirts to the fans.
In Dallas.
Yeah, in Dallas. Huge ovations, had a big package of his highlights. And I just, you're watching that and you're going, why did they ever let this guy go if this is how they were going to treat him when he came back? It was bizarre to me.
You're going to celebrate the guy that you traded.
Yeah. Yeah. It was wild.
It makes no sense.
No.
I mean, it would be okay, the trade doesn't make any sense, but then to treat him like a god when he comes back.
I know. It was weird.
And you're the ones that traded him.
Yeah. They literally gave out like Luka, like thank you, Luka t-shirts, is what I was heard. So it was bizarre. You knew that he would be cheered like that for sure.
Yeah.
You can't control that, but boy, it just kind of felt like, oh, he's back. We're so happy to have him back after they absolutely dogged him, called him fat, basically. And how weird is this?
I don't think the fans did.
No, I'm talking about the franchise. The franchise did think to highlight he's back after they treated him like shit. It was so weird.
And how does the general manager keep his job? What is going on?
To me, I think he had to have been forced to do it for some reason by the ownership group. Yeah.
Yes, there's just some real mystery. Real mystery in that. And it's just, I don't know. He's and anyway, has he missed a game since he went to LA? I don't think he has. When he was at Dallas, it was every other game. He just didn't play.
Yeah. I think once he started, he missed the first few when he got traded.
Yeah, he was still hurt, I think. Yeah.
He did miss the third half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter in Oklahoma City the other night. He got kicked out.
Yeah. He is a whiner.
I thought that was a lot of fun though last night to see that and just bizarre like feelings. Just watching that game, like this is so weird.
No.
But they did what they did.
Yeah.
All right. Let's move on. Let's talk playoff picture right now.
Okay.
In the NHL, we're going to start with the NHL. We're going to do NHL and NBA. We'll talk some of the future prices as we go along on this. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. There you go. People see it a little bit better. I think we're pretty much set here in the East. We could see some change, but I think what it's going to be, Toronto is going to take on Ottawa. Tampa will take on Florida. And then in the other division, Washington will take on Montreal. Carolina going to take on New Jersey. Let's start kind of just previewing the potential series because I think these are pretty much going to be set in stone. Ottawa, Toronto, I think is a very intriguing first-round matchup. Ottawa has been on a roll. Brady Tkachuk will be back for the playoffs. Toronto's been playing great. They picked up a big win in Tampa last night. What do you think? I mean, that's a tough matchup, I think, for Toronto, for a team that doesn't win in the playoffs.
Right.
How do you feel about that?
No, I know. I can see them losing. I mean, any matchup's going to be tough for them.
Yeah.
Except maybe New Jersey.
Yeah.
If they could have played them, you know. And Ottawa and Montreal are in they're in the Atlantic Division with Toronto, Tampa, and Florida, right?
Right.
Yeah. So the way this works is the 2 and the 3 in each division is going to play each other no matter what, right?
Right.
And then the number 1 seed, whoever's got the best record, will play the lowest wild card team for hockey. People that don't understand the hockey playoffs.
Yeah. Right.
So really, there's nothing. There really isn't anything left unless Florida and Tampa would switch the 2 and 3. And I guess Tampa could still beat out Florida or Toronto for number 1 too, right?
I mean, those are possibilities, but
but the
not likely.
The teams are set.
Yeah,
they're pretty much set because Montreal's got a big lead over Detroit and the Islanders. I think it's great that Montreal's back in. I think it's good for hockey to get some Canadian teams in there. So you got 3 out of the 8 here that are from Canada. But back to your question, I think Toronto beats them. I think they're a little better. If I was Toronto, I'd rather play them than Montreal.
Yeah, I could see that.
I just would not want to play Montreal. And they're playing great too, by the way.
Yeah. I could see that.
Don't you think they beat them?
I think so. Yep. I think Toronto's in a great spot. It's just getting over the hump because the teams are going to have to play Tampa or Florida if they were to win the first round. They'll play them next. Florida has all kinds of injuries. I don't know. They're going to get some of them back. How that all meshes together, haven't played in a while. I don't know. I'm iffy on Florida. I'm not iffy as far they're a good team, but just the way the season's gone, I'm not sure on them. Tampa, I think, is a good team, not a great team. So I feel like in that pot of 4, it's really Toronto's to lose this year. They've got a really nice setup. You look back at some of the previous years, and it's been tough roads. This is not as tough for Toronto this year. Unless Florida meshes together back real well, I kind of think it's theirs to lose.
The thing about Tampa, don't you think they've kind of overachieved
just
a little bit?
Yeah.
But look at that home record. That's
pretty
tough.
I'm not. I would not be overly concerned with Tampa. They could obviously beat you, but I don't think they're going to make a long run. And again, like I said, I think Florida, if they can kind of mesh back together and get everybody healthy, it's possible. But Toronto seems like, hey, they're the ones that should be the favorites here, and they should win and again get to the Eastern Conference Finals out of this, in my opinion.
Right. And when you look at the Metropolitans, if I was Washington, I'd be scared. I'd be afraid of that first round matchup.
I think Washington is a team that has overachieved. I think we could say that.
Yeah.
I think they get past Montreal, but
I don't know.
I'm not sure either. I mean,
it seems to me like they lose every night, but then I look at their record and they don't.
Well,
they haven't teams they shouldn't lose to.
They haven't played great as of late. I think a lot of it now that Ovechkin's got the record, I think that might help actually.
Yeah.
But I think they'll beat Montreal, and then I sorry to Kevin, but the Devils are just too banged up. I don't see any way they're going to beat Carolina. I kind of lean Carolina out of this pod. I kind of think they'll beat Washington.
They're very consistent. That's for sure.
Yep.
I think this is dumb. I think this side's weak.
I do too.
Because I don't think Washington's that good.
No, I don't either. So just to your point, Toronto, all kinds of playoff problems, right?
Yeah.
I think they're good, but they've got problems. Tampa, we think's good, but they're not like what they were.
They're hard to beat.
Yeah, but I mean, they're not great.
Right.
Florida could be, but they do have a lot of injuries. We'll just have to see what happens. I mean, that's a good roster, but how many will play? How many will be 100%?
And they're the defending champs.
Yeah, I mean, obviously they're going to be tough, but there's a lot of question marks there.
Yeah.
Washington, we think's vulnerable, even though they've had a great season.
Oh yeah.
Carolina's kind of the same; they always are.
Yeah, they
tough,
but well in the playoffs.
Yeah. New Jersey,
they'll win a round. Carolina always wins a round.
They might win a couple this year, is what I'm saying, though. We know New Jersey's banged up. Ottawa and Montreal are up and comers, but I don't think they're elite by any means. So I'm with you. I don't think the East is all that strong. And look, I think it's going to take about 95 points to get in the playoffs in the West. And you look here, you could probably get in with, I think 87 is fairly safe.
87, definitely you're going to get in with 87.
Yep.
Because Detroit's not going to win enough to get in there.
Yep. And this is a really good point from Kevin. And I agree with Kevin in this, because we were talking about the other day, and I said, I don't like Carolina, but I think Carolina is the one to bet. They're 5.5 to 1 right now to win the East. They lost 2 elite players. They got lesser players back, and I still like them. And that tells you what you need to know, that the East is not great. So,
don't you think if Toronto can get out of the Atlantic Division, in other words, win 2 rounds, the pressure's off of them then, and they can kind of relax?
Yep. I think so.
I think you can't hardly argue if you win 2 rounds. I
think Berube is going to help. I really do. I think that's what they need. They played a more playoff style. I like this team a lot, but you just worry about, okay, second round, it's Toronto, it's Florida. Florida, let's say they played pretty well in that first round. They've got some guys back. Are we really going to pick Toronto when the chips are down? I'm not sure. And are they capable? Are they capable? Yeah.
If Florida looks great against Tampa and says beats them, and they say they beat them in 5.
Yeah.
I'm picking Florida.
I probably will too. Florida to me is the team to beat if they are
They're
the
healthy.
real Panthers.
Yeah.
But I watch now. I watch Florida almost every game. They're not the real Panthers right now.
No, they're not.
And they haven't been for a couple of weeks. But if they are, that they're going to be tough. But yeah. All right, let's keep going. Let's go to the tougher of the two, in my opinion. The West is loaded.
Loaded.
So as of right now, I think this is going to how it's going to shake out. I'm pretty sure it's going to be Winnipeg, St. Louis. I think St. Louis is going to get that last spot, and Minnesota is going to get the next to last, and then it'll be Dallas, Colorado, Vegas, Minnesota, LA, and Edmonton. I think LA, Edmonton's pretty much locked down. I think Dallas and Colorado's locked down. Minnesota, St. Louis could flip flop there, but boy, I tell you what, Dallas, Colorado. That's a really good team going out in the first round. That's going to be epic.
It's ridiculous. But that's the rules. And that Central Division is loaded.
Yep.
All three of those teams can win the cup.
Yes. Yep.
And only one of them is going to come out of there. The Kings have been playing great, but now they've kind of slumped off a little bit here lately.
Yep.
And then you got Vegas. I would not pick Edmonton. Even though they've got some guys that have been out, and if they get them back, they're kind of in the same boat as Florida. They've got a lot of injuries. They've kind of persevered through it. McDavid was back last night, unfortunately. So anyway.
A late addition to the lineup, and I want to get to last night in a second, but keep going.
Okay. Dallas is my pick. I think if they can get enough scoring, but golly, how would you like to be as good as they are and have to play Colorado first? That's going to be a classic series.
Oh yeah, it's going to be an awesome series. I like Dallas to get out of that pod there. I do like Vegas still to win the West. I'm still supporting them. I still think, man, they just got a great all around team. So I think that will be the tough team to beat. Kevin, he makes a good point. Rantanen versus the old team first series. I mean, that's unbelievable. He's traded to Carolina, and you're like, oh, they'll avoid him. And then he gets traded to Dallas, and now here we are, a first-round matchup. That's going to be crazy if that happens. Yeah. Talk about the wild cards real quick, because the Blues are still in good shape, but it's gotten tighter. The Blues got two things. The Blues, that was the most angry I've been at them since probably December. Last night. I went
to sleep. So what happened?
They just played a stupid game. That's the only way I can describe it. They were a better team last night. Now, listen, I'm not saying they're better than the real Edmonton, but Edmonton had so many injuries.
Yeah, they had to win. They needed that game. They should have won that game.
And but with that being said, the Blues got a breakaway. It's a 3-3 game. The Blues have a breakaway with 30 seconds left in the game. Get tripped.
Oh.
To the point where I screamed, okay, that's going to be a penalty shot.
Yeah.
They called nothing. They didn't even call a regular penalty. And not only that, do they not get to get the breakaway, obviously. It led to a rush the other way for Edmonton, and they scored off the rush.
So they beat him in the last seconds?
The Edmonton scored with 17 seconds left to take a 4-3 lead. So not only lose
a point.
You lose 1 point, which is big right now. Huge.
It's huge.
But you would have had a power play for the last 30 seconds of regulation, plus a minute and 30 of 4-on-3 in overtime.
Right. And 4-on-3 is almost impossible to stop.
The Blues, if they don't make the playoffs, that's going to be huge. Now, that being said, they have a game against Seattle and a game against Utah, and no matter what happens with Calgary, who still has 4 pretty tough games left, if the Blues get 3 out of 4 points, they're in the playoffs. So they're still in great shape.
They are.
That was a killer last night.
It was.
They caused the issue for a lot of the game. They played a horrible game. However, they should have at least gotten one last night. They totally got screwed out of that game.
Yeah, and if they'd have called that penalty, they would have definitely got into overtime.
100%.
You would think.
Yes. Yeah. Well, even if, say whatever I mean, so what happened was a guy got behind the defense and Cam Fowler made a great pass to him. Say they just play it safe. Well, they get that point, but he made a great play and they get the breakaway.
Mhm.
It's just like even if you just call the penalty, and again, I think it should have been a penalty shot, to be quite honest, but just call a penalty for anything else to prevent a 4-on or a 5-on-4 back the other way, because our guy's laying behind the net down. And so they go rush back the other way. And I mean, it was just, it was unfortunate, but hopefully it doesn't hurt.
Am I ever glad I went to sleep? I wouldn't have slept at all.
Yeah, we were. Oh, I didn't. Hey, this is serious. I was okay. I was pissed the whole game because they just played like garbage.
I did too. What I watched, I didn't think they were playing very well.
Horrible. And so mad. When Winnipeg beat them the other night, I thought, you know what? They weren't good enough to beat them. They didn't play that bad. They just weren't good enough. This game was there, and they just dicked around. But it took me about an hour to go to sleep. I was pissed off because, again, even if you just get that 1 point, I mean, that's
instead of 5, and that means a bunch.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
The other thing, don't you think they're missing that Holloway?
Oh, there's no question they are. I think he'll be back for the playoffs
as well. So
yeah.
Well, I'm scared of these next two because there's two teams they have trouble with.
Yeah.
Both of them. There's no excuses to not beat them. If you're a playoff team and you got to have a win, you got to go get it.
Yeah.
But they struggle in Seattle, and we all know what Utah is. They just cannot beat them. So for some freaking reason. So
yeah,
it was big though last night as well that Calgary only got a point.
Right.
Playing the Ducks. So that was not a good thing for them last night either. So
yeah.
But it's still scary. We knew it was going to. We had that three-game stretch coming up. We won one of them, thank God, to put us in really good shape. And we knew that Calgary was playing a weaker opponents while we were playing the really good ones. We knew this was going to get kind of tight, and it did. Yeah. Finishing out of Minnesota, I don't think matters.
No,
one way or the other. So that one's not.
Yeah.
That's not an issue, really. So
no. I'm with you there. I would rather play Winnipeg than Vegas.
I would too, simply because of Winnipeg's playoff history.
Exactly.
And that means a lot when you get into this.
And I think it's easier to go to Winnipeg and win a game than it is Vegas.
Yeah, and Vegas they play well in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, I mean, if I had to pick a team I'd want to play out of all of them, if I had my choice, but not counting Minnesota,
sure,
it'd be the Kings.
Yeah.
Because I'd be afraid of Edmonton if they get their players back.
Oh yeah.
They're dangerous.
Yeah,
because they can score. But what the Blues have done is amazing. If they can just solidify to make the playoffs, the future's suddenly looking bright.
Yep, absolutely.
And we just got to be thankful that they've done what they've done, because I was listening to their radio guys last night, and they're fantastic, by the way. What I did was I was too sleepy to watch it on TV. I just couldn't keep my eyes on them, so I took the computer into the bedroom and laid there and listened to it, and I still went to sleep. But they're really honest on there, and their lead announcer said, I got to be honest with you. He said, when the season started, I didn't think this was a playoff team.
No.
When we went into the Four Nations tournament, I thought, let's just get this over with, get this season over with, and hopefully we can get better, maybe not trade all our guys off. He said, I never dreamed we'd be in this position. So,
yeah. No, me neither. I don't think anybody did. I don't think anybody did. Yeah. So,
and they've made a great run. So they just got to finish it off, get into the playoffs. No, we don't need to get all bent out of shape if they don't do very well.
Yep.
And move on. That's what we got to do.
All right. Fine. So who's your pick right now to win the Stanley Cup? And then we'll move on.
I like Dallas.
Okay.
Again, their style of play is the right style, but sometimes they don't play that well in the playoffs as well. Colorado is dang dangerous. If they can get through that first round, then that would be my pick, I think. But I know you like Vegas. So
Dallas is 6-1 right now. Vegas is a 10-1. 11-1, depending on the book, and then Dallas 6-1 right
Who's
now.
the favorite? Is Dallas the favorite?
Dallas and Florida are the favorites right now, depending on the book you go to. Some have Dallas, some have Florida. Okay. Colorado is the third choice.
Isn't it interesting that neither Winnipeg or the Capitals, who have the best records, are not in the top 3 or 4?
You can get the Capitals at 11-1. You can get the Jets at 11-1.
And I wouldn't take either one of them either.
No.
What did you say Vegas was?
Vegas is 10 or 11-1, just depending on where you go.
That's probably the value bet right there.
Now, Heather has a bet on the Maple Leafs at 12-1.
That's not bad.
So, yes, so that we're a Maple Leafs home first here. So we'll see what happens there. I don't think that'll happen, but she says 12-1 on them. Yeah. So we'll see.
I think, though, if they could get through the first 2 rounds, all the pressure on them would be off.
Mm-hmm.
And they might make it to the finals.
Yep.
But I don't think they're good enough to beat these teams out of the West.
I don't either, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
The other thing, too, that could benefit Winnipeg, let's say they play Minnesota or the Blues, and they're better. And let's say the series not a knockdown drag out, say they beat them in 5. You got to think that Colorado-Dallas series is going to go 7.
I would think so.
And those teams are going to be wore out. One of those teams is going to be wore out coming into a pretty fresh Winnipeg team. But sometimes in hockey, that doesn't matter.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. And I mean, and that you never, the one thing about it, you never know what series might go 7 in hockey. You know, we could look up and see Winnipeg, St. Louis in 7. You know, I mean, that could happen.
Hockey's crazy.
Yeah. Here's what's not crazy. Basketball, you want to talk about, though. NBA here. We've got the standings up for the NBA. All right. Eastern Conference.
Pitifully weak.
Does Cleveland have any chance of beating Boston, or should we just crown Boston already?
They beat them head-to-head a couple times.
Okay.
They got to get healthy. Their best player's been hurt. But they're resting him. No, I don't think so. I think Boston's the best team. The Knicks are pretty good. But now probably that's a potential playoff match if everything goes the way it is. Indiana's kind of a sleeper team. But really, it's Cleveland, Boston, and the Knicks. And I don't think there's any reason to talk about anything else.
Okay, nothing else. Well, I do want to ask the Pistons. Now, the last time I remember looking at the standings last year were the Pistons were the worst team in the league. Yeah. What happened this year?
Well, they got that superstar that played at Oklahoma State, Cade Cunningham.
Yep.
And they added some pieces, and they just played really good. And so they're solid. But it's the same in NBA as it is in hockey. The West is loaded.
Yeah.
And the East is not. The West, this is a mess. Just look at, you got 8 of the 10 playoff teams solidly over 500.
Yeah. Like Kevin said, Chauncey Billups is tearing it up for the Pistons. That's about the last time, Rip Hamilton, Ben Green, that's about the last time I watched basketball, the NBA basketball. So I get the reference. Yeah, Western Conference here, they were asking me last night, you know, as a fake Thunder fan, who are you scared of? I said the Lakers for sure. I mean, would you agree it's kind of they're one of the big teams to beat?
If you know, all through the playoffs when LeBron was playing somewhere else besides LA, when he was with the Heat and when he was with Cleveland, OKC had trouble with him.
Yep.
And now he's got Luka with them, but LA thumped them, and they played a back-to-back in Oklahoma City, which I don't understand that either. But anyway, LA thumped them the first night. OKC came back and handled them the next night.
Yep.
A team down there that's number 7.
Yep.
I would not want to play them right now.
Yeah.
But this is how tough this league is.
Yeah.
They're in a play-in game. They're not even out of the woods. We're talking about Golden State, which since they got Jimmy Butler, they've been unbelievably good. They lost that was a bad loss last night to San Antonio. That was not
Yeah.
That was not good.
Mm-mm.
So there's really a battle here. Who's going to be 4, 5, 6, 7, 8? That's a big battle. You don't want to be in that play-in tournament because that's a winner take all. Kind of.
Yeah.
If 7 or 8, I think you have to lose twice before
Yeah.
you get.
Right. Yeah.
If you're 9 and 10, one loss and you're gone. You get a little bit of a reprieve if you're 7 or 8, but still you're not playing a 7-game series. So you want to avoid that if you can, because while you're playing that, the other top 6 are kind of recuperating and resting up. The team nobody talks about is Houston,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like the Pistons. They were dog crap last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they're
Number
52
2.
and 28. I couldn't name you one guy that plays on there.
Well, and similar, they look like they're holy cow, they're like 80-1 to win the championship.
Yeah. Nobody else can tell you who plays for them either. So
yeah, exactly. 80-1 on the second team in the
are
West.
the Thunder the favorites or it's
The
Boston?
Thunder are the favorites. It looks like a plus 175, plus 165, and then the Celtics are plus 210, plus 220, around in there. So those two teams are pretty short compared to the rest of them.
Yeah, they are. If I was the Thunder, there's 2 games left. My players would not be playing those last 2 games. They mean absolutely nothing.
I think
unless you're trying to get their best overall record, I guess.
I think I was told today that Shea's out for the rest of the season. Yeah. So
yeah, you don't want to risk getting somebody hurt.
No.
These last 2 games.
No.
I'm scared to death, though. I don't know why. They're the best bet in basketball.
Mm-hmm.
And not only that, they're beating huge point spreads. Every night they're 14, 15-point favorites, and they cover.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Yeah.
They're super fun to watch. Anybody likes to watch up and down the floor, get on a roll and make 5 threes in a row and just blow a team out in no time. And then they can turn around and blow a game in no time too, but they don't do it very often.
Yeah.
They are so fun to watch. And they are the youngest team in the league.
It's crazy.
So the catch is going to be, can they sign these young guys or are they going to lose them? Somebody was telling me the cap's a little different in the NBA than it was the last time. Mm-hmm. They had to sign those guys. It's going to be a little easier for them.
Yep.
Somebody was also commenting, let's trade some of these. We got 1 million draft choices.
Yeah, right.
Put a package together and get that kid from Duke.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go.
He'd fit in pretty well there.
He would. He definitely would.
Player, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So, and we didn't even talk about Denver. They're pretty good too. So, and the Clippers are playing great. So.
Denver just fired their coach. What's that all about?
Fired the coach. I don't know. Memphis fired theirs.
Wow. Yeah.
So we had 2 teams that are in the playoffs fired their coaches. Strange.
Very, very.
Yeah. I don't. Well, Denver wasn't playing very well, and I guess it is odd timing, though. I mean, you start playing next week. The playoffs, play-ins next week, and then
right.
Other things the week after. I think. I know the play-in starts, I believe, a week from last night. I think it's the first play-in game, so that'll go through the weekend, and then the regular ones will start. And you fire a coach, you got to get another guy in there to kind of get used to the players, and it is odd.
Yeah,
but yeah, it happens.
I don't know. It's crazy. It's very, very, very crazy. So Nuggets right now look like about 22-1. Lakers are 12-1. To me, like I look at this, the Lakers are 12-1. It looks like the Warriors are about 13, 14-1, depending on the books. That's to me, if you're going to make a bet, that's the one to do, in my opinion, because who wants to play a future wager on a 2-1 shot or a 3-2 shot pretty much with the Thunder? That's, let's say 8-5 in horse racing terms. That's not fun.
No, you don't want to do that when you got to win that many rounds.
Who else are you? All right, Lakers, Warriors, or anybody else that's not Celtics, Thunder that you'd be interested in?
Lakers, Warriors, Celtics. What'd you say Denver was 22? I just don't think think they can get it going. No, I don't think so.
Yeah, I mean it's pretty straightforward. You said you like the Knicks a little bit. They're 30-1.
Yeah, I was watching. They played in a big game the other night. They were playing Boston, and they had all their players, and so did Boston. And it was in Madison Square Garden. It was a great game.
Yeah,
They couldn't beat them.
couldn't beat them.
They got beaten over. I thought they were going to beat him. I picked them, and they got beaten overtime. So, but they could beat. They could, but
Cleveland's sitting here at 5 or 6-1, depending on what book you bet with. Any interest in that, or is that just no?
you know, I've been waiting for them to fade, and they really haven't.
Yeah,
I don't know why. We all have this bias against them. I guess they just don't have enough star players. Maybe.
yeah.
Man, they can shoot it too. They get it going, and they're hard to stop. That wouldn't be a bad bet. They can beat Boston.
Do you really think they can?
They can. I don't know if they will.
Okay.
It's the Boston tradition.
Yeah,
I think and that means something. It really does. It means something.
Yep.
It can be tough to go into Boston and win games. That's a tough place to go. And it's that Laker thing goes too. If they can get to rolling, but they've played pretty well since Luka got there, but they haven't just blown people away.
Mm-hmm.
So they lose games they shouldn't lose either.
I would think 7-game series, they'll be tough.
They will. Will they get worn down?
Yeah.
Is LeBron still? Is he going to be able to go through 4 playoff series, or I guess 4? Can he do it? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I still think he's a great player, no doubt about it. But he's not the player he used to be.
Well, no. How could you be?
Yeah, he's still good though.
He played really good in Dallas last night, the fourth quarter. He looked really good. So,
see, don't you think they should be blowing them out?
Yeah, no, I understand what you're saying. Yeah,
I just don't see them dominating people like a playoff championship team should be doing. They're winning enough to get up there pretty safe as far as being a good spot, but they're just not wowing people.
No,
and I just don't see it. Where OKC's drubbing people.
Yeah.
Boston drubs people. So
again, when you get into the playoffs, a little bit different.
It's different. I know.
So we'll see what happens on it. Okay. All right. Anything else on the NBA before we?
No.
Yeah. All right.
We're going to have just briefly.
Go ahead.
Because basketball just ended, college basketball, and how many coaches are now out beating the bushes trying to replenish their roster?
Yeah.
And how difficult college coaching is becoming.
Yeah, it's bad. Yeah.
Football, basketball, men's. You don't see the women transferring that much, or maybe they don't report it that much, but they pretty much stay. I think once women or girls get to where they're comfortable, they don't, and there's not as much money involved. Probably.
I was going to say, you can say whatever you want, but
it's money.
If you think that's why, and it's not the money, then I don't know what to tell you. But
it's just I don't know how anybody would want to coach in college.
Yeah. Yep.
I just don't.
No.
Because it is so hard.
Any sport.
Yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the other day, baseball coaches have always had it tough because their kids will get drafted. You never know when that's going to happen.
Yeah.
And they'd have to overdo their roster. But it is just beginning. I mean, you can't develop your team anymore. You get a hotshot freshman in, he's gone. He's either going to the pros or he's going somewhere where they'll pay him more money. And I mean, a whole lot of coaching is you got your guys for 4 years and you coach them the way you want them to play and you hope they develop into your system. I don't even know whether you can recruit to your system anymore.
Yeah, I don't think so.
You got to just get whoever you can get.
Yep.
And I know OU signed a really good player.
Yep.
Out of Notre Dame that sounds like he's going to be exactly what they need.
Yep.
but they lost everybody else just about. So
I think that's why, in my opinion, this is why you're seeing less upsets.
yep.
Because I think it's why coaches like Porter Moser at OU aren't as successful under the system, because he kind of excelled at get a guy, develop him, and his third or fourth year, all of a sudden he's a really good player. And I think that's kind of the formula for a lot of the mid majors, and they simply can't do that. They get a guy, they have a good year, they're gone,
and they star wherever they go.
Exactly. Yeah.
They had two guys.
Yep.
One played an instrumental role for Houston to get all the way to he wasn't their best player, but he was. He made some big shots in some big games, and it was sure would have been nice to have him. And then Kentucky's best guard was developed at OU, so it's really tough. You just think about the pros. All you got to do there's coach.
Yep.
I mean, you just coach. You just look at your roster, see what you can do with it. You know they're signed. You know who's not signed. You know who's a free agent. You have an idea what your roster is going to be the next year. You don't have a clue. And then spring football is going on right now. There's another portal after spring football.
Yep.
So you've had them all spring. They're pissed off. They didn't get to play enough. You still like them. You still think they have a chance. Get in there in the summer, work out. No, they hit the road. They're gone.
Yep.
And so what do you got to do? You got to go beat the bushes and find somebody else.
Yep.
And that's not easy.
No. Mantle makes a good point. This is a very good example. And this happens. It's happened a few places, but this is a good example. Indiana State last year, really good team.
Yes.
Should have been in. All their players left. And now they're not very good, but the players that left had success, and under the old system, they've got everybody back. They're building. Who knows what would have happened? Yeah.
Yeah. And it's hard on the fans because if you're a big time fan of a program like Indiana State, which of course has had success over the years because of Larry Bird, they've had some good teams as well. You go to the games and you go, man, we're going to be good next year.
Yep.
And it's a changed world. You're not going to be good. And they can't afford to pay the money that these others, and you keep saying, well, these kids, they don't care. Well, you know what? You can't blame them.
It has become college athletics. I hate college athletics now, to be quite honest. And you root for a uniform, and you don't really root for the people anymore because you don't know them.
And you used to root for again, we always talk about OU because that's what we know more about than anything.
Yeah.
One of the reasons we love Baker Mayfield so much, he played 3 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you got a guy that's that good for 3 years, you see everything he does. But nowadays, you don't know whether you're going to have him.
Well, I think Gabriel is the perfect example because he played 2 years and he was becoming very popular.
Oh, if he'd have come back for that third year. Yeah.
Yeah. And he left and you're just sitting there going, well, I love that guy.
I know.
Do I root for Oregon now? I hate Oregon, but I kind of like him.
Yeah. Well, I watched a lot of Oregon because.
Yeah, I guess I'll watch Oregon now. And then you look at the quarterback you got and I hate this guy, as far as the way he was playing. I don't hate him.
Yeah,
but it's like, I can't stand to watch this guy. And then my guy is playing at another school.
Yeah.
And it's like, I hate this shit. I don't like college athletics at all anymore, to be honest. I really don't.
Because in college, you fell in love with the players.
Yeah, right.
Because you knew them for 4 years.
And Manlow's right. The fakeness of it being amateurism was something that we said, but the last line is right. You get to know a kid when he's young, you watch him year after year develop, and you get attached to him because it's like, hey, okay, I remember when he came in and he was okay, and now we're in his junior year and this guy's a stud. I think about a CD Lamb when he came into the freshman, like, oh, he's going to be amazing. And then he goes to a junior and it's like, no, yeah, he is the best receiver in the league.
And you knew he was going to be.
Yeah. And I just you don't get it. You just
Well,
don't
and you
get it
all like to
anymore.
play,
So,
we all like, oh yeah, God, we're gonna be good a couple of years from now. We gotta look at all those freshmen they're playing out
right.
there.
Yep.
Just think what they're gonna be like when they're juniors.
Yep.
Superstars now, they don't play their senior year usually. They get drafted to the pros when they're a junior, but in football,
Yep.
you got them for 3 years. Not now, but you used to. And you sit there and go, you know what? We got this kid, he's a freshman. This kid's a sophomore.
Yep.
They're starting like 6 sophomores on offense and 5 on defense, and we're winning.
Yep.
Think what we're going to be.
Yep.
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 And then you're the poor coach.
Well, and I think Rob put it best. They're mercenaries, basically.
They are.
They're just kind of what a coach is now. In a lot of ways, is just kind of a figurehead.
He is.
He's just kind of like that guy that's on top of it all, and it's just like I'm just kind of the spokesman for this.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, they're coaching and they're trying. When they get guys, they're trying to make them better, but they all know, the players and the coaches, things go wrong, forget you. Like, I'm going anywhere but here. You know what I mean? And
you're not going to chew me out and make me do something.
Exactly. And it's just it's terrible. It's
a
terrible situation.
He's like a coach, college coach. They're like a pinball. I mean, they just bounce off one problem to the next every day. Can you imagine walking into the office every day and going, what's going to happen?
Yeah.
Who's going to come in my office and say, I'm leaving, coach?
Yeah.
Or it's just something every day.
Yeah.
You just never know.
Yeah.
Used to be you just had to worry about him going to class. I've heard Stoops say many times that. I heard him say the other day. He was on an interview the other day. Well, he's on the OU radio station every Monday. And Toby Rowland asked him, they said, what was it like your first year? And he said, it was awful being out of coaching.
Yeah.
I've never really heard him say that, but he said it was awful.
Mm-hmm.
And it was barely doable the second year. And I go, well, what about now? And he goes, oh, no, it's fine now. He said, I'm coaching the XFL or whatever it is. And he goes, that helps a little bit. I get my coaching out doing that. But he goes, those are pros.
Right.
I don't have to worry about him going to class. I don't have to worry about calling parent off. Hey, you better get on your kid because he ain't going to play this week because he's not going to class. I don't have to worry about that anymore.
Right.
But he said, there's no way I could do this now. It's hard enough as it is. And then you got all this crap you got to deal with off the field.
Yep.
And turn your roster over every year. Because those guys, they recruit these kids. They go, well, this one's going to play immediately.
Yeah.
This one, by the time he's a junior, is going to be a stud.
Yeah.
This one is coming out of high school as an offensive, maybe a tight end. We may be able to balloon him up, and he may be the best offensive lineman we've got.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to take a year or two. You can't do that anymore.
No.
So,
it's incredible.
It's bad.
I mean, it really is incredible what's happening. And I never thought I would be this way about college sports, but it's just like,
okay,
it's not for me.
And it's drifted down, as you said, into D2.
I don't, because it's the same. It's almost worse because D2, any good player's gone.
Yeah, and they're going up to D1 programs, and a lot of times they don't play.
No, but they're gone.
But they get a little money to go.
Yeah.
You were telling me at a rival school here, their best player was offered, and this is chicken feed compared to what you're going to get at D1, but this is for D2. This is amazing. $80,000, wasn't it, to stay at D2?
Yep. Manlow said, and then they want us to pay the kid's salary, and that's okay. So that's
on you.
That's a big part of why I hate it too.
Yeah.
So you've got all these people that have supported these programs, paying these outlandish ticket prices and traveling all over the country to support these people. And then it's not enough. You need to go donate so we can go get players. And it's like, wait a second, you've made millions and millions of dollars on us. And now it's our responsibility to do your job.
Well, isn't it a rule that they can't pay them? And don't they have to get the donations to pay them?
Yeah.
The school, it can't come from the school. Isn't that right?
Right. Yeah. It can come from the donors of the school.
Yeah. Right. And until we've said this over and over. It's not going to change until that rule changes, and the schools have to start paying them.
Yeah.
If it starts coming out of the school pocketbooks, there will be some changes.
Yep.
They're not out any money, so they're hypocrites. They're the biggest hypocrites in the world. As long as they're still making money, they're not out any money.
Yep.
So
I remember when they sent that out and said, "Hey, we don't have enough money, and you guys aren't doing enough, and if we're going to be good." They didn't say this exactly. It's like, hey, if you want us to be good, you're going to have to pony up. It's like, really?
Huh. They say it all the time, Aaron.
So should I just say that to all of our people that are watching the show right now? Hey, if you want this business that I own to succeed, well, you're going to have to pony up more money, or I'm just out because I can't manage it. Like, it's insane. Like, I will pay for something when I want something from you as a service. Sure. If I want a new Oklahoma sweatshirt and I see it, I will definitely buy that. But I'm not going to give you $1,000 to go get a quarterback.
Well, I was totally offended when they did that.
And some fan bases, Oklahoma being one, Arkansas being one. I'm not trying to be rude, but some fan, it's like, Alabama. It's like, I don't think you need to be asking your fans who are probably sacrificing a lot just to go to the games and support.
That's right, and have for years.
Yeah.
Have for years.
Kind of their whole life kind of revolves around it, and they kind of do everything they can financially.
Yeah.
It's probably not good to send them a letter. It might rub you the wrong way.
Yeah.
I know some Arkansas people that were furious about that.
It's not right.
It's like you're supported by Walmart and Tyson, and you are asking the guy that's making $30,000 a year.
The guys that's making $35,000 working at Walmart.
Right. Yeah, working for the company. Exactly. Yeah. All right. Well, Blinkers Off coming up in 2 minutes, so I got to get out of here. I hate to cut it a little short, but we will. But anyway, and here you go. Ole Miss is now charging people fees to tailgate in the Grove.
Oh my goodness!
There's license fees for season ticket holders everywhere. It's bullshit. I hate college athletics now.
Well, there's only one way to stop it, and that's don't do it.
Boom! There you go. I know 2 people that didn't. So there you go.
That's another topic. We can get tickets cheaper off the internet than what the season ticket is.
Okay. How much was a season ticket? We're gonna end with this. How much was it? Like $700? How much?
$1,250 a piece. No, about $750 a piece. Yeah.
You could buy all home games right now for $440.
There you go.
So
why does anybody get a season ticket?
Yeah, exactly.
Just go on the internet and get you a ticket to whatever game you want to go to, because there's always games that are shitty that you don't want to go to.
Yep, and when your team's dog shit, you don't have to go. So
you don't have to go.
And that could happen a lot. All right, we're gonna get out of here. I gotta go. All right. See you guys next week. Thanks everybody for joining us. We'll be back, guys. Everybody have a good rest of your week. If you want to hear more of me, I'll be up 1 minute on Blinkers Off. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later.
This is due to Bet Sports.
All